All right, now I'm going to allege in this upload that Andrew Tate's arrest was fake. And what's actually happened is they're taking his character off the scene, and that Andrew Tate is playing the role of Cape Verde goalkeeper Vozinha. I mean, come on now. Have a look at that face. Right, that's Andrew Tate. Right, now, we all know that he played the role of Anton LaVey. Right, so that's no secret. So it's not too far-fetched for me to be making the claim today that Tate is Vozinha. You can see his senior career. Now, in 2022 to 2024, which was a time period where he really blew up, all right, and you got all those videos from his compound in Romania and whatnot, you'll notice that he was playing for Tristan in Slovakia. Right, so we'll just have a look there. The distance between Slovakia and Romania. Right, they basically border one another. Right, now he had a brilliant World Cup. I was actually quite impressed with not only his performance, but the Cape Verde side in general. Right, they punched well above their weight. All right, and it just so happened that this story came out, and the media made quite a big deal out of it. All right, and the reason is because I believe that this was all planned in advance to take Tate off the scene. All right, so his mother was flown over by a Chinese businessman because she supposedly had issues with a visa and was too poor to come and watch her son play. Now, they didn't make a deal out of any other player except for Vozinha. By that, what I mean is they didn't make a deal out of any other player in the World Cup's family members not being able to afford to come and watch their relative play. Only this guy, who just so happens to be Andrew Tate, supposedly one of the richest men on the planet. All right, I want you to really have a think about that. All right, now you can Google that if you want to look into it. Right, now I'm going to play this here. And you're going to notice about half a minute in, whilst he's speaking, that he laughs, right, because he's putting on an act. I'll just get some volume.
I grew up with my grandparents, and unfortunately they are not here. They died a few years before, and they was all everything for me. They give everything for me for my life, and also because my mom, she didn't manage to be here because of the visa, the how to say the I forget now. It's because
He's got the dupest delight going on multiple times in this interview.
of the money you have to pay for the visa, we didn't manage on time, and
So they made a big deal out of the mother not being able to afford to come to the World Cup because they didn't want the serfs putting two and two together and saying, well, hold up, that's Andrew Tate there. Right, so he's just recently signed for Colo Colo right, in Chile. Now, on the same week, you had this story about a social media user in Miami being arrested. Well, I say the same week, it was about 2 weeks previous, for flying a drone towards the cell window of Tate. Now, keep in mind that the media is reporting that he's locked up in his cell for 23 hours a day. Right, and they don't want people flying drones around his supposed cell block. Now, I believe that the reason this story was put forward was because it was also staged to give the impression that he is locked up and the arrest is real and he's not playing the role of Vozinha and that he hasn't just signed for Colo Colo, and also to discourage the general public to be flying drones around federal facilities. Right, so his move was delayed here, about a week before he signed, where they were claiming that he was going to sign for, or that he was in talks to sign for RS Berkane in Morocco. Now, what's strange about that is not only what's strange about his move to Colo Colo, I know why, because, he obviously wants to remain under the radar, because Vozinha is a good enough goalkeeper to play in the Serie A, for instance. So I wouldn't say he's good enough to play a full season in the Premier League. He is 40, but to sign for Colo Colo when this guy could easily play in the Netherlands, for instance, in the Eredivisie. He could go and play in Belgium. He could play in Italy. He could play for a smaller La Liga club. And I think that he would do really well based on his performance in the World Cup. So it's just part of keeping a low profile whilst they take him off the scene. All right, now, if you go onto X, you can find videos on Tate's X account, or I think there's an account called Prime Tate. where he was rambling on about men watching World Cup football. I'm basically just saying how pathetic it is. Grown men watching other men chasing a football around when they could be addressing other issues, such as migration. And the whole time whilst he's saying this, knowing in my mind that he's Vozinha. So I thought, well, he's obviously doing that to throw people off the fact. But if you come across to this interview here from the previous World Cup, let's just watch what he has to say.
What do you think of the World Cup situation? Have you been watching it?
Yeah, I watched England get their ass kicked yesterday.
Terrible game.
Bro, you know what? The English in me comes out around football.
I know.
Because the English care so much. And we never win. Ever. Anything. It's so annoying.
Now, at the same time that he was in Chile signing for Colo Colo, having the meet and greet with the fans and whatnot, you've got his attorney claiming that he believes that they're trying to X out Andrew and Tristan Tate. Claiming that the jail is denying him access to the brothers and he can't check if they're still alive. Just more theatre. Because he's in Chile as Vozinha.